Welcome to Bahati, talking about real issues that are affecting you as an individual. Insights about financial and personal growth, plus better relationships. And now, Bahati.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, I get excited to be in this space with you, and then just to know that we can accelerate our growth. We can decide how much we expand, how much we evolve, and the things that we do. I feel like God placed a lot of potential, a lot of ability in our hands, and the things that we must be able to do, let alone the things that God must do or He is going to do for us. But the things that we can do are quite huge. And I hope that you never fail yourself at any point, because the saddest thing will be to just get somewhere in life, maybe after some years or even now, looking back and you being in total regrets about the things that you did not do, about the things that you didn't try, about the opportunities that you missed, about the things that you dodged. I hope that you don't do that to yourself. Otherwise, welcome to this beautiful episode where we get to talk about growth, where we get to talk about getting to our goals, where we talk about dominating our year, where we talk about reclaiming our year. And this time of the year, it reminds me, it brings a lot to my mind, being that we're getting to the, to the close to the end of the year, and then some of us are like, we have not hit our goals. And then I've received so many questions from the business community, from my mentorship, from random speaking engagements that I go to, and people are asking me, but what is the secret? What is the secret? It seems there's a secret as to why people hit their goals or people get to their goals. Now, I'll tell you the truth, that human beings, we are all the same. Like, we love the same things. We love comfort. We love to have good moments. We love pleasure. We love not being disturbed. Like, if it were up to us, and let me tell you, if God had not given us a stomach that we have to eat 3 meals a day and we have to eat every day of the year, let me tell you, some of us would have chosen to stay in bed and just give up on our lives. But I believe there will be a small group of people that I usually call the trailblazers that would have gone for it, given it a shot, and did mighty things in this world. So that's why I was like, okay, I need us to have a conversation. I need us to have a chat about why aren't we where we're supposed to be? The only reason that we have not hit our goals, because we have so many reasons, but there is one particular reason that I want us to talk about, why we have not, or why we are not hitting our goals. Okay, so I first want us to go through all your reasons, because I know you have your reasons, and I know that you can be able to type in the chat while you are watching this, whether you're watching it on YouTube, whether you're watching it on TV. You can be able to respond to the numbers on your screen and tell me, why do you think at the beginning of the year you set up goals, you set up resolutions, and right now, yes, you've achieved some. I know some of you have not achieved any, but if you've achieved some, why is it some of them have not been achieved? Or why is it that some people totally have nothing to show? Like the whole year, when you ask them what they had, the goals that they had mega goals, huge goals, but they have not hit any, because people usually don't know why. We think we know why, but the reasons that we give are usually not the right reasons, because I have taken the liberty to ask why actually people do not hit their goals. And you'll be surprised, because some of them tally with yours, because some of them I usually say, no one is there to help me. I don't know, but I think we've had this statement so many times. The reason as to why I'm not hitting my goals is because no one is there to actually help me. You remember that the sick person that was at the pond, and when Jesus was asking him, well, why aren't you healed? Because the water stirs up, the angel comes, and the healing takes place. Why aren't you there? It's like, no one is there to push me, something like that. But you realize that it's not the reason. it's not the reason, because so many of us have never had anyone, or when we were starting, no one was there to actually help us. But some of us learned to ask help from people, not just handouts, because some people, we ask for the wrong help. Not just handouts, but we asked for help when it comes to knowledge, when it comes to holding our hands, when it comes to personal growth, but there was no one to actually give me. I didn't have any rich uncle that would give me any money and say, you know what, now you go and start a business. I know some people are blessed to have that. I never had that in my life. Not my father, not my mother, no one in my life could give me even a single shilling. By the time I couldn't even, finish school in the first place, then who was there to give me the money? So you realize that so many of us give the reason of, no one is there to help me. And then there are those who say, I have no money, because we think everything is done with money, or everything can be accomplished with money, which is not right. Do you know that you are super gifted, and you can use your gift, you can monetize your gift, because this is what we literally do in accelerated mentorship. To find your gift, to find your niche, to nail it, to monetize it, to connect with it, and to be able to sell it to the world, because there is someone who requires what you have. There is someone who needs what you have, but you're busy actually seated on it. So I just don't want to talk about these things, but I just want us to go through the random reasons, okay? And then so many of us say distractions, okay? I am distracted, there's social media, there's work, there's church, there's a lot of things that are happening that by the time I remember my goal, a month has gone, another one has gone, and it's mid-year, and then all of a sudden it's just the last quarter, and I am not achieving anything. I am busy. I am distracted. Okay, and some of us we feel we are even distracted by the jobs that we have. We are distracted by the ministries that we have. We are distracted by so many things in our lives. And then some people will say, I don't know. I don't know whether you have seen people who say, why haven't you achieved this? And they're like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how other people do it. I don't know. So I want you to be able to find yourself amongst the things that we are mentioning. If it is you, I want you to put some fire in the chat box, in the comment section, and tell me that, you know what, yeah, that's exactly me. I just don't know, okay? Some of us don't even have goals, and so we don't know why we have not achieved the goals that we don't have. Oh my goodness, okay? And then some of us are citing fears that, okay, I think I'm being held by fear. I'm being held by not wanting to launch out or fearing to launch out. I am frightened. I don't know the uncertainties that I'm going to face. I even don't know. And most times when we fear, we become stagnant, okay? And then we become frozen. Instead of moving, we are in one place contemplating the same thing. So we dwell in our thoughts more than going ahead to do what we are meant to do, okay? And then some of us are slow at decision making, that, you know what, I know that I need to make this decision, but my goodness, I will dance around the decision, and I will dance, and January will go, February will go, March will go, April will go, media hits, the last quarter hits. I am just dancing around one thing. I want to start a business, I dance around it. I want to marry, I dance around it. I am just not deciding. I know that I need to make a decision, and whatever decision I make has repercussions, but I am just afraid, what if I make a wrong decision? What if I make a wrong move? What will become of my life? So you realize that so many people are actually held back. And then one of them told me that lack of clarity, that, you know what, I don't know. I'm not so sure. I don't know what I should be doing. I think I face so many of these people. I am gifted in 6 areas. I feel I love them all, but I just don't know. I am super skilled. I am skilled in 4 areas, but I don't know what to be major in, and I don't know what comes secondary, and I don't know what to filter away. So you realize that people get actually stuck. But of all the reasons that we have mentioned today, that is not my focus. That is not my main aim. All the reasons that we have mentioned are not the right reasons, okay? They could be linked to the right reasons, to the right reason that we are going to talk about, because I have taken time to understand, even to look at myself and ask myself, why? Why is it that I have not hit certain things? Why is it that I have not achieved certain goals? And then I have taken time to even study the people closest to me and ask myself why, through conversations, through, just talking. And I'm like, okay, there is something that is a pattern that is appearing that I know will be able to help so many people and will be able to deliver so many people. And it's as simple as people never differentiate between pleasure and happiness. And now you will say, I don't understand. What exactly do you mean? People do not differentiate between pleasure and happiness. And when I talk about pleasure, I want you to picture this, that pleasure can be a temporary situation that is pleasant to you. You're not doing anything important in the delaying period. You are not doing anything important, whether it's the delaying of decision making, whether it's staying in fear. You realize that you're still in your comfort zone. You have not crossed to a place where the fear is refusing you, because the fear is keeping you safe from crossing over to a bad spot. Because then the mind thinks, if you make a decision and you go for it, what if you make losses? If you start a business, what if it collapses? If you marry, what if you marry the wrong man or the wrong woman? If you start a ministry, what if no one ever supports you? So if you leave this job, what if you never get another job? So you realize that all the other reasons that we are giving are supporting reasons to the fact that we never differentiate between pleasure and happiness. Pleasure is the temporary moment that you're in, that you can pull a blanket, that you can still go to the same job because now you have gotten used to it, that you can still collaborate with a small circle of people, that even when they're not taking you anywhere or they're just pulling you down, they're not adding value to you, but you are comfortable in that state, and we are looking for something that gives us pleasure now, because pleasure is supposed to be temporary. And then when you look at happiness on the other side, I look at it as the long term. I look at it as the reward. I look at it as the fruit of your labor. I look at it as the fruit of you foregoing the pleasure, doing what you had to do in order to get the happiness. And when you get the happiness, happiness, I think I was reading a certain translation about the words in the Bible, and it was talking about happiness in relation to a blessing, and actually it means the same in especially in the New Testament. And so when God says that if I bless you, or my blessing does not come with sorrow. So that means you have gotten this blessing, you have arrived at this blessing, you have arrived at this happiness, that yes, you took time to decide. Yes, you took time to make the choice. Yes, you took time to go away from the pleasure. You did what you had to do, and now you have gained the happiness, and that happiness has no sorrow added to it, or that happiness is supposed to be a permanent, it's supposed to live long. It's supposed to, to be durable in your life. It's not something that comes and just goes. And then the word happiness is used interchangeably with joy still in the Bible. And we usually say that joy is the inner, it's inward. It's not just on top. It's inward. That means no one can take that away from you. Just imagine you have worked hard for what you have, and when you finally have it, the joy of having it, and because you have worked hard, maintaining it is not strange. People that get things all of a sudden, maintaining becomes a problem. That is why when someone inherits land, it's so easy for them to sell the land. Why? Because they're looking for the pleasure. They're not looking for happiness. One that is looking for happiness would think that, let me work so hard at my job, and because I inherited land, let me actually build some apartments, or let me build some rentals, and then I will be able to get money, and those apartments will never rot. That they will give me money 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and I can actually mortgage that property, and I can be able to get more property, and I can be able to build an estate, okay? And then I can be able to be called wealthy, not just a rich man, because rich is simple, but I will be called wealthy. I will be significant in this world. Why? Because you were not looking for a cheap bottle of beer. You were not looking to spoil your friends and buy them drinks. You were not looking to have Dubai trips and show off while you do not have a firm foundation for the kind of lifestyle that you are living. You were not looking to stay in an apartment that is more expensive than what you can afford because you wanted the temporary joy of someone coming and visiting and saying, oh, so-and-so stays at a good apartment. So you realize that there's a lot of pleasure. People are sticking to pleasure, and people are dying with their dreams, and people are dying with their goals, and they are dying with frustration. Because let me tell you, pleasure can only cause temporary, just like it's called pleasure, it's temporary, it's flattering, okay? The butterflies will be there. Then, you know, the temporary pleasure is going to be there. But then after that, what? Because if we could press a pause button on our lives and say, you know what, I am stuck at 20 and I'm going to die at 20, I will be 20 for the rest of my life, I would have said, I don't know, I am not so sure about that because I've never seen it happen. But you are growing, okay? The economies are changing. Situations are changing. Your strength is changing. That means who you were last year, you need to be a totally different person today. And you need to be a different person tomorrow. And you need to be a different person. That means your tomorrow is being prepared by what you are doing now. But if what you are choosing above all things is the temporary pleasure. No, look at your goals. Look at your goals. I will say for a fact, we've been on this journey for quite a long time. And some of you have even written to me and told me that, yeah, we realize there's actually vivid change. Some of you even noticed on TV and you sent me messages in my inbox and you're like, what did you do to lose weight? In the last 3 weeks, I have lost 7 kilos. In the last 3 weeks, 7 kilos. But that does not come with me stuffing my mouth with donuts and stuffing my mouth with chocolate, stuffing my mouth with ice cream and stuffing my mouth with I have been on a constant diet of a salad every single day for the past 3 weeks. And I have lost 7 kilos. That means I did not choose, because where I work from, if I want, if whatever I want, I can just order from the comfort of my office. I can just call and say, bring the biggest ice cream, and they will bring the biggest ice cream. And it's not that I don't have the money. I have the money to eat the things that I want to eat. But let me tell you, sometimes I would rather send that money to an orphanage somewhere. Sometimes my husband and I would rather support a church that is building somewhere. Sometimes, and today we're talking about it, and we were like, he was looking at me at breakfast and he was telling me that, don't you think we have things to do with that money? That we can get it and give it to pastor, we can get our tithe, we can get, and not small money, but we just give it away. We are planning for our future. We are planting. We are keeping our money where Moses cannot reach, and we are deciding not to just take the temporary pleasure of having it all and spoiling ourselves. And we're like, you know what? If we partner with God in his work, there is no way we are going to fail. If we partner with God in putting a smile on a child's face, on taking a certain child to school that we do not even give birth to, we are partnering God to change lives, but we are also partnering with God that we will live a long, happy life. We are investing. And he was telling me that, you know what? Both of us, we are at this breakfast table and we choose each other every single day to be here. And he was telling me, Hilda, you're a beautiful woman. Don't you think there are men that would have wanted you? And I told him, of course, they're there who try. And he told me, if I wanted Okwebuzabuza, it's possible that I would not be on this breakfast table with you. I'll be elsewhere. But we have chosen not just the temporary pleasure of us pursuing whatever we want to pursue individually, but we have chosen the long-term happiness of us investing time in our marriage, of us investing time in our family, so that we can live a longer life of happiness. So ask yourself, are you choosing the shortcut of pleasure in your relationship, or are you choosing to plan for the happiness that you want to see for the longest life? I want to be 90 years old in a 2-piece swimsuit in Bahamas somewhere or wherever it is, but I still want to be that saved, sexy, happy woman, that means I am not choosing the shortcut. I am not choosing the pleasure today. I am choosing the happiness, because that's what's going to get me to the goals that I want. So when you look at, some of us have body goals. I know it, I have body goals. And some of us, you know, in this generation, in the generation of internet, it's called aesthetics. And it's not bad to have an aesthetic goal, not an aesthetic goal of I am going to do a surgery, an aesthetic goal of I am going to hit the gym, I'm going to improve my diet, but I still want, today morning I was talking about, because it's been a while ever since I calculated my body mass index and how much weight I must really arrive at, because my goal has been different, but now I realize I have to calculate it according to my body mass index, and that should be around 70 or 75, and I am willing to chop every kilogram until I get to that weight. Watch my space. But the thing is, I'm not going to get there by pleasure, wanting pleasure. What gives me pleasure? Eating a lot. What gives me pleasure? I can't forego certain foods. What gives me pleasure? I don't want to exercise even if it's for 30 minutes a day. What gives me pleasure? No, I want to sleep in and sleep the whole weekend and, you know, just have my time. And I'm like, you know what? I have things to do. I have businesses to run. I have teams to encourage. I have mentees to mentor. I have the world to speak to and the globe to travel. I do not have time to say, you know what, I'm just sleeping in and I'm, you know, no. I can have that time while my bones are old and cracking, but right now I am just going to work hard towards it. So I need to ask you, what goal do you have? Okay, is it a financial goal? So if it's a financial goal, I mean, how are you spending your money? What kind of work are you doing? And then what can you take more tasks? Can you work extra? Can you discover your gift? Can you monetize your gift? Can you, as in the things that you ought to do? But someone else can say, I have a financial goal, but while they're still staying in the apartment, whatever apartment they stay at, they're still driving that guzzler, and yet they cannot actually maintain it. I have seen people buy cars that they have no business buying. They cannot even maintain them. I have seen people opt for a lifestyle, especially even in clothes, that they cannot maintain. Why? Because they want people to look at them a certain way. They want to be on Instagram. It's not bad to be on Instagram, but make sure that you are within your means, okay? And make sure that you're planning for your future, because you're not just hitting your goal that, oh, after hitting my goal, I'm going to die. No, you're not going to die after hitting your goal. There's a life to live after your goal. And then there's a goal after a goal, because goals is what God helps us to incrementally fulfill our lives. That means our goals as human beings are recurring. That today you want a Sienta, today you want a Paso, today you want a Vitz, and tomorrow that is going to be different. When you hit that goal, believe me, the next thing you're saying, you know what, I am not going to a Vitz anymore, I am going to upgrade. And then after that upgrading, there is also another upgrade. Now, do you see that incrementally, in an incremental way, God gives the desires of your hearts according to the goals that you have? Because when he says that I will give you the desires of your heart, I will satisfy you, the desires of your heart are goals. So God fulfills them in an incremental way. That means if you're dreaming a smaller dream, or if you have a smaller goal than you had last year, there is a problem. We need to check. Either last year you were dreaming blindly, or you had blind goals, or they were not realistic at all, because again, we usually say realistic. But let me tell you, I will do the realistic according to my standards, my work schedule and everything. And guess what? I will create the unrealistic goals depending on how big my God is. And let me tell you, 100%. God has come through for me for both the realistic goals, depending on my strength and what I can do, and God has come through for me on the unrealistic goals that He alone can do, that show a favor that is beyond what I prayed for, that even I understand, or a grace that I even deserve. And then He just gives you something, you do something, and you're like, you know what, this, God alone No son of man could ever have given this. No door that any man could open could ever have given me this. This comes from the throne of God direct. And God does not give us what is within our realistic measure. God gives us what is beyond our realistic measure. That is according to the supply that he has in heaven. But what does that show? Today, still, Tim reminded me about the hard work. It's like when people look at us, they don't know the number of years we have toiled. They don't know the sacrifices that we have paid. And he was reminding me about Kayunga. And he was like, the time that we went to Kayunga, the kind of house we were staying in, when we stayed in that shop without rent, with just one phone, without airtime, and we opened the shop every day. When we stayed in a store that had all the dust, but when you look at everything, the odds were against us. But day by day, that is where we decided to go for fast and praying. That is where we decided we are going to be faithful with our tithe. That is where we decided that we are going to show up in every endeavor. That is where we decided I must go to school. That is where we decided, and one thing after another, while we endure, while we are resilient to bounce back, while we are planting the seeds that we need to plant, we did not choose pleasure at any one time. What we wanted was happiness, and we were willing to pay the price for happiness. So many of us are not willing to pay the price for happiness. We want the good things, but we want them in a temporary format, and we want them now. And we never think that there is a tomorrow. When tomorrow comes, we also think about now, while we bury our head in the sand and leave the rest of the body outside. So I need you to reflect, to evaluate, check yourself while we go for this short break.
Spirit TV, a place for you.
Did you know that you can acquire a skill in less than 3 months? Dynamic Media School skills you in TV and radio presenting, motion graphics, graphics designing, control room management, show production, audio production, confidence building, lighting and videography, personal branding, social media management, cinematography, video editing, marketing and sales, and effective communication. This is designed to provide practical skills and hands-on experience with the focus on developing critical thinking, research, and communication skills. You will have access to high-quality learning materials, including online lectures and other resources, as well as a dedicated team of facilitators and influencers who are available to assist you with any questions or concerns that you might have. Enroll today. Call 0702 021 834 or WhatsApp 0760 881 331. Dynamic Media School is an excellent choice for anyone looking to start or advance their career in this exciting and dynamic field. You don't get the life that you deserve, but that which you decide. It's time for you to decide to dominate your life. You don't do that by just having passion, you need a plan. Let's show you how you grow practically in character, competence, and in other areas of life. Welcome back to Bahati.
Yes, just like we said, happiness is a blessing. It's such a blessing. Let me tell you, when you start smiling and God is the one that is smiling down on you, or is the one that is putting that smile on your face, even when the enemy wants you to be gloomy or to be unhappy, it will never happen. When God opens a door, no one can shut it. And one thing about my God is he does not consult anyone when he chooses to bless you. If God consulted, I don't know, if God consulted people about whether not to bless me, I don't know where I would have been, because I guess there's so many people who would have wanted to see me dead, who would have wanted to see me poor, who would have wanted to see me fail, who would have wanted, maybe they would have jubilated. I remember at some point in my village back in Chugunga, there is a statement that some some men used to make, because I was that beautiful girl on the village, and that beautiful girl that was untouchable. And I made my sister untouchable because every time I would be with her and I would tell her, you're not going anywhere without me. And I told her we need to make choices that are going to give us a good future. I told her, do you want to come back to this village in the same state? Do you want to come back to this village poor? Do you want to come back to this village shaming the name of God? The same village on which we have a church, the same village on which our mother has toiled to bring us up and to pay our school fees, the same village. Do you want to do that? And she would look at me. She was young. She would look at me in the eyes and she would say, no, I want to make my mother proud. I told her, now, we stick together. Now, all the men some of the men on the village, and let me tell you, some people that will try to pull you down are people that have also failed in their own lives, or they have stagnated in their own lives and they just don't see any other future. Now, those are spoilers of other people's future, and they're stealers of time. So guess what? Some of them were boda men. I have no issues with boda men. I'm talking about boda men back in my village when I was growing. I don't know. I think some of them are alive. Some of them were butcher men. I don't have a problem with butcher men. But they were back, because these are many years ago. How a boda man looks now, how a butcher man. I have seen modern butchers. Guys, have you seen them? They are cleaner than some of our houses. I have seen clean bodas, very eloquent, very even well-schooled. But back then, they were drunkards. All the butcher men were drunkards. All boda men were drunkards, apparently. Whoever failed at something back in the years. Now, that was my village. It was infested with such kind of men. Now, most of the times when they made 3 remarks, and you know, cowards never come to tell you, oh, I love you, oh, you're beautiful. Cowards don't do that. Cowards would rather say, That is cowards. Failure. That is a combination of a failure and a coward. So, bakusia, and they will throw words. Saizi yange, bolabo omuntu wakuita saizi ye. Let them be men enough to come and tell you, you know what, you are so beautiful. I have seen you for some time, and I really admire you. I don't know, but can we be friends? Now, that is a confident man. That is a man who has a future. Whether he's a boda, whether he's a butcher man, that is a man that has a future. Whether he has no job, that is a man who has a future, and that is a man that is respectful. But one who says, "Saizi yange," if you're the one, if you are watching and you're that kind of person, shame on you. Especially if you're doing it to young girls. So there were those guys used to say, you know, a lot of things, and one of the words they used to say, batambulira mubire. Batambulira mubire to mean that we are moving in the sky. That, you know, tuja kuanukayo, like we will fall down the sky. In other words, we are living an unrealistic life. Why? Because other girls our age were busy sleeping around with such guys, you know, getting handouts of 1,000 and 2,000. And in my heart, I was like, ndimunaku, I come from total poverty. Total poverty. 1,000 and 2,000 is not going to take me out of this poverty. I need something more than 2,000 and 1,000 and a drunkard man. I need something more. And so I did not even bother telling my mother about some of these things. I would just ignore. And let me tell you, ignoring would hurt them, because the more I ignored them, the more my sister ignored them, the more they started, you know, coming up with those words. You know, muja kuwanuka yo, you will fall off. You know, you will come back to our standards. You will come back. You are ours, whether you like it or not. And in my heart, I used to make those prayers, oh, come what may. This is not my future. This is not my future. Whether I foot to school, whether I go hungry at school, whether I would even go fasting. Sometimes I would not even know what days I'm fasting and what days I'm not fasting, because they all looked alike, because I didn't have money anyway. So whether you came back home and there is no food, and sometimes you're the firstborn, there is small food and you have to sacrifice it and give it to your sisters, that did not deviate me from wanting happiness. Now, back then, I didn't know that that is what I wanted, but I knew I wanted a good life. I knew that the God I served would give me a good life. And I said yes to the voice of God. I said yes to working hard. I said yes to happiness. I said yes to the longer formula of happiness, to working hard, to waking up early, to showing up whether in season and out of season, to showing up whether I was heartbroken or not, to show up whether I was broke or not, to show up whether the world was showing up or not, to show up whether other girls or other ladies were doing it or not. I just decided, I took matters into my own hands and said, now God, it's you and I. Not about my mother, not about my father. My mother does not have, I cannot point at my mother and say, oh, she did not plan for me. Oh, I was given birth in poverty. Oh, I was not. She was a steward. God permitted that she becomes the steward through which I come on earth, and for that I am forever indebted and forever grateful. So there is no day I can ever say, oh, no one planned for me. No. The God that thought about me, that predestined a good future about me, he knew I was not an accident. And that is where at some point I was speaking somewhere and say that, yes, your mother and father could have made you, but God formed you. And you do not form something by accident. You form something with intention. You form something with a plan. You form something with a will, with an end in mind. When a potter is creating a pot, they're not just creating a pot. They are forming something that they know is going to be useful, whether it's going to carry water, whether it's going to cook. It has a use. And that is why I say you have a use. You have potential inside of you. You have a calling. You have a blueprint of greatness inside of you. It's only that you don't know it. So stop allowing those short term. If it's a financial goal, ask yourself, what do I do? I just don't want that today's pleasure. What I want is happiness. What I want is money that stays. And just not that stays, but money that grows. How about that? Money that blesses other people. And when you bless other people, there is a statement that Tim usually tells me and says that, you know what, there is no way God will bless other people through you and you don't remain blessed. Okay, so for those that are just getting to join us, we are talking about the only reason you're not reaching your goal. I know we have so many reasons, but now we're talking about the one reason, that all the other reasons are just attachment of this one reason that we are talking about. Okay, some of us have professional goals, some of us have family goals, have relationship goals, some of us have, like, we have so many goals, but I want you to know that there is always that shortcut of temporary pleasure, and then there is the longevity of happiness. But happiness comes with resilience. It comes with hard work. It comes with commitment. It comes with consistency. It comes, I have sung these things so many times, okay? When God says that I will bless the works of your hands in Deuteronomy 28:12, he says, I will bless the works of your hands, okay? That means it's not just the temporary pleasure, okay? That means you are doing something, and that is a pulpit, that is a platform for him to come, that is a base for him to come and bless. And that shows you happiness. That the works of your hands, that I am sowing, then there is a reaping time. Okay? One who chooses pleasure is one who chooses to eat and eat and eat until they can't eat anymore. Until they eat the seed and they have nothing to plant. And then all of a sudden, they start asking for people to give them handouts. You know, I don't have food. You know, can you give me this? I know that we all go through those times. But let me tell you, even when I went through the lowest time of my life, I don't remember how many nights I went without food or how many days I went without food. But never, not even a single day, did I knock on someone's door or even call someone and tell them I am badly off, I need something to eat. I would rather drink porridge the whole week. I would rather drink even water. There is a time my mother told me that she was at a crossroad. She didn't know what else to do. There was no food at all, and she didn't have any hope. Even at the shops, you remember I told you my mother used to send me to go to Senga's. I don't know if that Senga's still exists in Tebe, to Senga's shop. and to go and get maize flour or to get kaunga or posho. And I would hesitate, like, I don't want to go and say we don't have money, but please give us some posho, give us some maize flour. Now this time I think she had exhausted all her avenues, and so she was hoping that we can sleep and forget about eating. So she put up a saucepan of water, and she had at least some bit of, not charcoal, but you know, when you have a charcoal stove and you put in firewoods, that is what she did. She put in firewood and then in the charcoal stove, and then she put on a saucepan of water and covered it. Now, my sister Diana went to the saucepan and opened the saucepan, only to be surprised that there was water. So she came, she found us in the sitting room. And in the house where we were, oh my God, we were being housed and accommodated by our uncle, the late Nelson. And so she had given us one of his rentals in a corner somewhere, and that is where we were staying. And so Diana came back and found us in the sitting room, because it was a sitting room and a bedroom. And now that was the finest, because after that we went on to live to even worse places, stores. But now that was the finest housing that we could get. And so she came and she told my mother, are we going to eat worship? Like in Luganda, tugenda kulia nyimba, tugenda kulia kusinza. You know, a kid, she must have been in primary something, or primary 1, primary 2. She's like, Mommy, tugenda kulia nyimba. Are we going to eat worship? And because she's what? There is me, there is Gloria, there is Alphonse, then there is Diana. So she's the 4th born. So there are 3 of us that are busy worshiping with our mother. And she's just taking time, hoping that one by one we will sleep, and she lets us go to bed without eating. But Diana was not buying into it. She was like, we are not going to eat songs. Just imagine. Let me tell you, that woman has paid a price. If there is any person that I know that has paid a price, and I think I get my strength from the perfect source. 1, from God, and 2nd, from my mother. That woman is a resilient woman. If that woman had gone to school, I think she would have been the president of the States of Africa, United States of Africa. Like, seriously, that's the wisdom that that woman has. I love her to bits. But everything I am is God, my mother, and 3rd, my mentor. Yeah, I believe in mentorship. That is why I mentor people. So I need you to be able to decide, if God is going to bless the works of your hands, where are your works? Because works lead to happiness. And constant works, resilient works, consistent works lead to happiness. Pleasure is short time, okay? And he says that to his blessings, remember I told you a blessing and happiness is the same. He does not add sorrow, okay? And there's a time I was talking about development, and I said that development is going to determine your destination, not your desire. Now, some of us have desires. That is why we stop at, oh, I desire to lose weight. And then you keep saying, I desire, and the whole year goes by. I desire, and something else goes by. But you know that you can actually do something. So desire alone is not enough. Developing something is, and as developing something, that looking for help, to understand, getting the clarity, going away from distractions, conquering your fear and saying, you know what, I am going to face it face to face and make sure that I do something with my life. I am not going to live in a fear zone the rest of my life. And then after some time, I regret, I look back and say, I wish I tried it. Instead of just walking by, or instead of giving up on it because of fear, I wish I had given it a chance. I do not want you to have such regrets. I do not want you to have such regrets, because God told us, and the formula for development is be fruitful, multiply, and dominate. Some of us want places of dominion. Some of us want places of, of happiness. Some of us want places of joy. But how are we going to have the places of joy if we cannot be fruitful? Being fruitful means toiling. Multiplying means wisdom. That yes, I am fruitful, but now that I am fruitful, how can I multiply where I have been fruitful? That takes wisdom, that takes mentorship, that takes community, that takes, someone holding your hand, you asking for help before you can dominate. There are few people that we have seen dominate the industries. They dominate, but when you look back at their track record, they have worked to where they are. There is clearly a mark to show where they have been. There is a legacy. There is, as in Luganda, I think is what we call omukululo. There is something to show that they have been working at this. They didn't just pop up out of the blue, They didn't. They worked their way to dominance. They worked their way to significance. They worked their way to happiness. And now happiness is lasting. So I need you to be able to go through that. And even when in the slightest things, you realize it's not about, I'm not telling you, go dig hard, do the hard. When people hear us talking about go and work hard, all they hear is go and lift heavy things, go and hear. I think sometimes we have selective hearing. No. I am saying, what do you fear? Can you be able to evaluate and reflect and dig deeper and understand what the source of your real fear is? And be able to conquer it and be able to do it even when you don't feel like it. So many of us fear public speaking. But I tell the people in my mentorship, and I told them, do it afraid. Do it afraid, because there's no single day you're not going to be afraid. But even when you show up and you're shaking, okay? Get the microphone. Say something. Open that live video. Say something on social media. Post a video. Post a poster. Do something. Show up every single day, and you will be amazed at how far God can take you and what kind of elevation you are going to get. You cannot be a candle and you hide yourself under the table. No. A candle is supposed to be on display. A candle is you're supposed to say, hey, look here. I'm here. This is what I am selling. This is what I have to offer. These are the services that I offer. This is what I am doing. But so many of us are quiet with all the giftings that we have. We are taking a back seat. We are quaking. We are hiding behind tables. And then after that, at the end of the year, we're like, hey, mama, those are the ones. I think they're just lucky. I think God loves them. God is not a segregator. God is not a discriminator. And in Ecclesiastes, that is why it says that food is not to the strong and the rest is not to the swift, but chance happens to all of us. That means you have had the same chances I have had, or you are going to have the same chances I have. So you choose what you do with your chances, what you do with your opportunities. I chose what I did with mine, and I choose every day what I do with my chances and my opportunities. And that is what has gotten me to where I am, and I am not even started. That is what will take me to where I am. I know the formula. The formula is put in the work. Yeah? Those things of someone is telling you, when you become a coach, some people lie to others. I mentor coaches, I mentor speakers, but some people lie to others. Oh, when you become a public speaker, when you become a coach, you're going to redeem your time. You'll be with your family, playing with your children, and money will be coming into your account. You will be somewhere on a beach, on a vacation, and you'll be earning the kind of money that you want. And then we've been taken by the frenzy of 7 figures, 8 figures, how many figures? And let me tell you, none of that is actually working out. The trick is hard work. Whether you want it or not, you will put in the hours. What are you going to coach? Are you going to coach the swimming pool? Are you going to coach the airplane? No. You are going to coach people, and that takes time, that takes understanding them, that takes being mentored, that takes you fulfilling the hours, because in my mentorship, you don't graduate until you have fulfilled a certain amount of hours. So that takes hard work. You finding your niche, and sometimes the niches change. You being able to put yourself on social media, being able to create content, being able to know what it is the people that want, okay? to know how you can create a course, to know how, so you're going to spend sleepless nights, you're going to think about ideas, you're going to look for platforms, you're going to go out and speak sometimes free of charge, because then you are wanting people to know you. You are going to have to put in the hard work. So there is no one should tell you, even pastors put in the hard work. I have never seen a pastor that prospers without putting in the hard work. They study, they read, they seek for God. I don't know about your pastors, but my pastors, they study hard, they seek God's face, they do everything that they are available at church, and they're not the ones who just come when everything is fine. No, they come when everything is not fine, and they make it fine together with their teams. So I need you to be able to know that even seeking God, when God says that seek God first and and his kingdom and everything will be added unto you, seeking God alone is hard work. It's not pleasure. Because someone would rather sleep or just walk, have an evening walk instead of praying. That is why you see when people say, oh, I'm going to pray, that is where they start dozing. That is where they start feeling like stretching, like maybe I'm about to get a headache. That is where, let me tell you, but when you know, like I have known, the impact of prayer, you will pay attention, and you will make it like, you will make the sacrifice. You will create the time. Okay? So seek first the kingdom of God, and the rest will be added unto you. And then ask, and it shall be given to you. That is, you don't, some people would rather just, say yeah, and just go about their business. Okay? When we talk about renewing your mind takes work. It is not pleasure. So we have pleasure, we have happiness. Choose what you want. It's the power of life and death is in your hands. And God is amazing. He says, choose life so that you and your descendants may live. Choose happiness so that you and the generations to come will live a blessed life, will live a happy life. But so many of us are living on auto system that we have never known what it means to choose happiness for the longest time. So we have been choosing pleasure after pleasure. We have been choosing pleasure after pleasure. And people who want pleasure, Tebalina and Tondo, they will wake up the following morning looking for pleasure. They will wake up the following morning begging. They will wake up the following morning eating whatever it is, Black Forest, ice cream, those things, all the junk, and I'm not saying these things are bad. No, for some people they are good. But if you know that you are where I am, that is not good for you. It takes hard work for you to get to your good weight, to my desired weight, and then I can have the Black Forest, but still in moderation. I'm not going to have Black Forest every day, okay? So I need you to know what's good for you and what's temporarily causing you pleasure that is actually blinding your eyes to the happiness that you can have for the rest of your life. You are trying to choose a man, but you're choosing the temporary pleasure, the temporary pleasure of buying you. I know I'm talking to someone, even when you're a Christian. So, and by the way, so many of us are even not Christians, but you're taking the temporary pleasure of someone buying you booze, of someone taking you to the club, of someone doing all those things. And then I know you will look at me and say, but what does she know? She's even old. And old-fashioned. It's okay. Old-fashioned and old, while happy, is the best choice I can ever make. But some of us, we are choosing things that we even are hesitant. We don't know whether that is the right choice, okay? But we are living, there is maybe another good man, nice man, and maybe this person is pointing you to God. This person, Kale, he doesn't have so much, but because you want the temporary pleasure of sitting in a car. I don't know what happened to ladies and cars, but ladies and cars, and ladies with men who have built houses, ladies with men that are somewhere, like he's a real man, like the men who don't have money are not real men. I don't know where you get your ideas from, but let me tell you, I asked someone recently if they stripped them of everything, the one that is giving you, that is putting you in a car and is building somewhere, and if they stripped them of all their belongings and they set them there, who would you take? And this person told me, I think I can take the Christian. And I'll be like, you know what, you do not marry a car. You do not marry a house. You do not marry. Yes, you want a visionary man, but if that visionary man is this nice Christian, loving, dedicated man, you do not marry any of those things. So if you say that if everything went and you would take the Christian, that means you don't love the other one that is not a Christian. You just love what they have. Just imagine. pleasure over happiness. You want a man that will adore you for the rest of your life. You want a man who will not think you came into my possessions, you found me already made. You want to build yourself up. I know some of you are going to stone me. I better leave this place before you stone me, because you're like, Atu zamabiga, siba zamabiga. Choose right and live right. You deserve happiness, and you can give yourself happiness.
Thank you for watching. Bahati comes to you every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, 9 p.m. here on Spirit TV. Bahati, bringing you knowledge, wisdom, financial and personal growth, better relationships leading to your transformation and elevation.